quarterback controversy is undoubtedly the scenario the Minnesota Vikings most want to avoid at this point in the season. However, that's exactly where the situation seems to be heading. Carson Wentz delivered a confident and efficient performance last week, completing 14 of 20 passes for 173 yards, throwing 2 touchdowns, and, most importantly, committing no turnovers. It was a convincing performance, showing that he can still command the offense with confidence and precision when needed. Still, as solid as Wentz's performance was, it isn't the main focus of the narrative in Minnesota. The main focus is on J.J. McCARTHY and his recovery, which has become the most closely followed story by fans and analysts. The young quarterback's rookie season, which was supposed to be marked by learning, adaptation, and development, ended up being drastically derailed by an injury that sidelined him at a time when he most needed rhythm and experience. Now, uncertainty lingers over how and when McCARTHY will return to the field, and what impact this return will have on the Vikings' offensive leadership. The team must decide how to balance the urgency for immediate results with the investment made in its future franchise quarterback. With each passing week, anticipation grows surrounding his return and the role he will play once fully fit again. Meanwhile, Wentz continues to fulfill his role, keeping the team competitive and allowing McCARTHY time to recover without rushing. However, once the rookie is ready to return, a debate over who should lead Minnesota's offense will be inevitable. And that discussion, even if the team wants to avoid it, could end up becoming one of the biggest stories of the Vikings season. As the Vikings approach Week 4, the expectation is that McCARTHY will remain on the sidelines, still dealing with the lingering effects of that high ankle sprain. His absence continues to shape the team's offensive plans, and while many are focused on his eventual return, not everyone is solely concerned about the injury itself. NFL legend and seasoned analyst Phil Simms, for instance, has voiced a different concern, one that extends beyond McCARTHY's recovery timeline. Simms isn't losing sleep over the ankle. Instead, what truly worries him is McCARTHY's arm strength and whether it will prove sufficient to consistently execute NFL-caliber throws once he's back in action. The league's defensive schemes are fast, complex, and relentless, and quarterbacks are required to make pinpoint passes into tight windows, often under heavy pressure. Simms questions if McCARTHY's physical tools, particularly his throwing power, will be enough to match the demands of that environment after such a significant setback. This observation has sparked deeper conversations around McCARTHY's development and readiness. Coming into the league, his intelligence, accuracy, and leadership were never in doubt, but questions about his pure arm talent have followed him since college. Now, with the added challenge of recovering from injury, those concerns have become even more pronounced. If he's to reclaim his spot and secure the future of the franchise, McCARTHY will need to demonstrate that he can not only recover physically but also elevate his game to meet the intense standards of the NFL stage. For the Vikings, this means the coming weeks will be about more than just waiting for McCARTHY's ankle to heal. They will be about closely watching how he rebuilds his mechanics, his confidence, and his ability to deliver the kind of throws that define successful quarterbacks at the highest level. I'm not trying to stir up any drama or create unnecessary controversy here, but I have to be honest. I'd be concerned about J.J. McCARTHY, Phil Simms admitted during a discussion with Mike Florio on Pro Football Talk. Simms acknowledged that McCARTHY had a standout moment earlier in the season, most notably during that impressive fourth quarter against the Bears, which showcased flashes of his potential and poise under pressure. However, despite that promising performance, Simms believes there's a deeper issue that deserves attention. For him, the question isn't about McCARTHY's leadership, composure, or even his decision-making. It's about the fundamental mechanics of his throwing. That's the part that really makes me think, Simms continued, emphasizing that in the NFL, arm talent isn't just a luxury. It's a necessity. Quarterbacks must deliver precise throws with velocity, often threading the ball into impossibly tight windows and doing so consistently throughout the course of a game. Simms' comments highlight a concern that has followed McCARTHY since his college days and now looms larger as he works his way back from injury. Can his arm truly handle the relentless pace and physical demands of professional football? The flashes of brilliance he's shown are encouraging, but sustaining that level of play week after week against elite defenses is a different challenge altogether. The analyst's remarks don't come from a place of doubt in McCarthy's character or potential, but rather from an understanding of the steep learning curve young quarterbacks face. As Minnesota navigates this delicate situation, the question of whether McCarthy can refine and strengthen that part of his game will remain central to the team's long-term plans and to the conversation surrounding his future as the franchise's leader. You know, when he was on the field, he simply wasn't throwing the ball the way you need to at this level, Sims pointed out, doubling down on his concerns about McCarthy's mechanics. It's not just about completing passes, it's about how you're doing it, and in his case, it feels like there's still a lot of work to be done. According to Sims, one of the most noticeable issues is that McCarthy seems to struggle with consistency unless he's putting maximum effort into every throw. It looks like unless he really muscles up and throws it with everything he's got, that's the only time he can somewhat place it where it needs to be, on target, on time, and with the right velocity, he explained. This reliance on sheer force rather than fluid mechanics could become a problem against NFL defenses that punish even the slightest hesitation or misplacement. That observation sheds light on a bigger challenge McCarthy faces as he continues his development, refining his throwing motion and building the kind of effortless arm strength that separates good quarterbacks from great ones. At the professional level, passes have to come out quickly, accurately, and without needing maximum effort on every attempt. If McCarthy can't achieve that consistency, it could limit his effectiveness and make life harder for the Vikings offense as a whole. Sims' critique isn't meant to dismiss McCarthy's talent. Rather, it highlights the gap between potential and performance. The raw tools are there, but translating them into polished, reliable execution is the next crucial step. As McCarthy works his way back from injury, improving this part, concerns surrounding McCarthy's arm strength didn't suddenly emerge in the NFL. They trace back to his college days at Michigan. Even then, evaluators noted that while he was an efficient and poised leader, questions lingered about whether his arm talent was elite enough to thrive at the next level. Part of that perception stems from the offensive system he played in with the Wolverines, which was heavily oriented toward the run game. Michigan's ground-and-pound style placed a premium on controlling the tempo and wearing down defenses rather than relying on an aggressive aerial attack. As a result, McCarthy wasn't often asked to air the ball out or make the kind of high-difficulty throws that NFL quarterbacks routinely face. In fact, he attempted only 332 passes during the 2023 season, the fewest among all top quarterback prospects in his draft class. That limited exposure left scouts with fewer opportunities to evaluate his arm strength in a wide range of situations. And it's part of the reason why some doubts have persisted into his professional career. While his accuracy, composure, and football IQ were widely praised, the lack of consistent volume in Michigan's passing game meant he entered the league with less experience making deep, high-velocity throws under pressure. Now, as he works to solidify himself as the face of the Vikings franchise, McCarthy will need to show that he can elevate that part of his skill set. Demonstrating that his arm can meet the demands of the NFL, not just occasionally, but on a consistent basis, could be the key factor in determining whether he becomes a long-term solution under center or remains a work in progress. Fast forward to the NFL scouting combine, and those long-standing questions about McCarthy's arm strength resurfaced in a more concrete way. The event, designed to measure the physical and technical abilities of top prospects under controlled conditions, offered evaluators a clearer look at both his strengths and his limitations. McCarthy certainly demonstrated that he has solid arm talent, enough to compete at the professional level, and his mechanics, timing, and accuracy all showed flashes of promise. However, one recurring concern continued to shadow his evaluations. Scouts noted that while his arm strength is good, it doesn't quite reach the level of being exceptional. The consensus in many reports pointed to a clear ceiling on the velocity with which he delivers the football. In simpler terms, there seems to be a limit to how much zip he can consistently generate on his throws, particularly on deep balls or when firing into tight windows against elite NFL defenses. This detail may seem minor on the surface, but at the highest level of football, it can make a significant difference. The ability to drive the ball into narrow passing lanes before defenders have a chance to react is what separates the league's top quarterbacks from the rest. If McCarthy's velocity plateaus below that threshold, defenses could exploit it by tightening coverage and challenging his arm strength. The scouting reports emphasize this point with careful wording, noting that while McCarthy is more than capable of executing an offense efficiently, the cap on his throw velocity could limit the types of plays a team might design around him. That doesn't mean he can't succeed, but it does mean that to thrive, he'll need to refine his mechanics, improve his lower body power transfer, and find ways to squeeze every ounce of strength and precision out of his arm as he transitions fully into the demands of the NFL. McCarthy has shown that he's fully capable of making the necessary throws, but the nuance lies in how he delivers them. While he can execute a variety of passes across the field, he doesn't always generate the same level of velocity as some of the league's elite quarterbacks, especially in moments that demand extra zip on the football. This difference becomes more noticeable in tight game situations, where milliseconds and inches often determine whether a pass is completed or intercepted. A significant part of this challenge stems from how dependent his throwing power and accuracy are on his lower body mechanics. His feet and hips play a crucial role in driving the ball downfield with both strength and precision. When his base isn't properly aligned or his hips fail to rotate efficiently, the result is a noticeable drop in both velocity and placement. In the NFL, where windows close rapidly and defenses adjust instantly, those small mechanical breakdowns can make all the difference. Another aspect scouts have pointed out is McCarthy's tendency to throw most of his passes at nearly the same speed, regardless of the situation. Whether he's attempting a quick slant over the middle or launching a deep shot downfield, the velocity often looks similar. While consistency can be beneficial, it can also make passes more predictable and limit his ability to tailor throws to the specific demands of each route and coverage. To reach the next level as a quarterback, McCarthy will need to refine these elements of his game, improving his lower body mechanics to unlock greater power, learning to vary his throw speeds with more precision, and developing the kind of arm versatility that allows top NFL passers to adapt instantly to different scenarios. These adjustments could be the difference between being a serviceable starter and evolving into a true franchise cornerstone for the Vikings. Adding another layer to the challenge, McCarthy's numbers haven't done much to silence the concerns. According to ESPN, his adjusted QBR sits at just 20.6 heading into Week 4 against the Steelers, the lowest in the league among qualified quarterbacks. That statistic underscores the reality that, while his potential is undeniable, he's still far from where he needs to be to consistently compete at the highest level. Taking all of this into account, Phil Simms emphasized that McCarthy's journey as a quarterback is still in its early stages and that patience will be essential. "I think they've got a lot of work to do if they want to mold him into what they consider a true franchise quarterback," Simms said. "He's going to need a tremendous amount of development, a lot of reps, a lot of game action, and just as much time on the practice field." Simms' comments highlight a truth that often gets overlooked with young quarterbacks. Talent and potential are only the starting points. Transforming a promising prospect into a long-term cornerstone requires refinement, repetition, and experience under real NFL conditions. McCarthy will need to absorb the speed of the pro game, improve his mechanics, and build the confidence that comes with successfully executing week after week. For the Vikings, this means embracing the process and committing to his growth, even if it comes with growing pains along the way. The organization's long-term investment in McCarthy suggests they're prepared to do just that. But as Simms noted, the road from potential to proven is a demanding one, and McCarthy's evolution into a franchise-caliber quarterback will require time. Kevin O'Connell is no stranger to the art of developing quarterbacks and unlocking their full potential. It's something he's built a reputation for throughout his coaching career. He's done it before, most notably helping shape Sam Darnold into a more confident and capable passer, and he's proving once again that he can guide and elevate a quarterback's play, this time with Carson Wentz stepping into the spotlight during J.J. McCarthy's absence. The results speak for themselves. In Week 3 against the Bengals, the the Vikings exploded offensively, putting up an impressive 48 points while showcasing remarkable balance both on the ground and through the air. The offensive rhythm was crisp, the play calling was dynamic, and the team looked as cohesive as they have all season. What makes this performance even more striking is the fact that they accomplished it all with a backup quarterback under center. That unexpected twist underscores just how impactful O'Connell's system and coaching philosophy can be. Following the dominant victory, the head coach appeared on the Pat McAfee show and took a moment to highlight Wentz's performance and the leadership he brought to the field. "I've always been a fan of Carson Wentz," O'Connell shared. "He brings a wealth of experience, and that experience is invaluable. Not just for him, but for our entire team. He's capable of doing so many things at an exceptionally high level from the quarterback position." O'Connell's praise wasn't just about one game. It was a reflection of the trust he has in Wentz's ability to steady the ship and guide the offense while McCarthy recovers. More importantly, it showcased O'Connell's talent for adapting his approach to fit the strengths of whoever is under center, a quality that could prove crucial in McCarthy's long-term development. With Wentz thriving in the system and the offense firing on all cylinders, the Vikings are demonstrating that they can stay competitive now while still building toward the future. With Carson Wentz leading the offense in Week 3, the Vikings delivered one of their most balanced and explosive performances of the season, racking up over 350 total yards of offense. That output included 183 yards through the air and another 169 on the ground, a testament to how well Minnesota executed in every phase of the game. Running back Jordan Mason was the centerpiece of the ground attack, powering his way to 116 rushing yards on just 16 carries and finding the end zone twice. In the passing game, star wideout Justin Jefferson played his part as well, hauling in 5 receptions for 75 yards, providing Wentz with a reliable and dynamic target throughout the afternoon. Head coach Kevin O'Connell couldn't hide his satisfaction with Wentz's performance and how naturally he commanded the offense. "Carson Wentz can see the entire field, and I thought he played with outstanding fundamentals on Sunday," O'Connell said. "He looked completely in control out there, really comfortable, and I was thrilled with the way he operated the offense." Those remarks underscored the confidence O'Connell has in Wentz's veteran presence and his ability to execute the system at a high level. Wentz's strong outing certainly earned him praise, and deservedly so, but it also added another layer to the ongoing quarterback storyline in Minnesota. As McCarthy continues to recover and the team looks toward the future, the decision on how to handle the position becomes more complicated. O'Connell's next challenge will be navigating that dynamic, balancing the immediate success Wentz brings with the long-term plan built around McCarthy. How he chooses to approach that delicate situation could shape not only the rest of the Vikings season but also the trajectory of the franchise in the years to come.